Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our show tonight. Now, I'm going to show you some video. I'm going to lead off this program tonight, even though this is not the most pressing issue right now. But I'm going to lead off this show tonight to show you some video of what happened here in North Carolina today. I want to show you this because it's important. It's important to everybody to realize what is going on. Now, folks, it might not seem important, but it is. The first thing I'm going to show you is a picture of the rain hitting just outside our home today. You can see the rain bouncing off the pavement out here. It's been raining since about 5 a.m. this morning. This is about 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Second, let me show you a video detailing exactly what happened. Watch this. That's how much rain was pouring this afternoon here in Morganton, North Carolina. Look at that rain. It's making visibility very poor here. Look at that rain coming down. That's incredible, guys. It's literally incredible. That has been going on since 5 a.m. this morning. It has now let up, and it's just before 7 p.m. tonight. Look at that. Look at that rain pelting us here in Morganton, North Carolina. Incredible. You could hear the rain outside this morning. This was incredible rain coming from Tropical Storm Debby. Now, why is that important? Because the entire state is being hit. And parts of Virginia, southeastern Virginia are getting nailed right now. Southeastern Virginia is also getting nailed right now. Now that storm is going north. I can guarantee you this storm is continuing northbound. The hurricane came ashore in southeastern North Carolina today. The hurricane came ashore about 2 a.m. Eastern time in southeastern North Carolina. It didn't start raining here until about 5 a.m. Then it hammered. It hammered ever since 5 a.m. and it just barely let up. It's now just sprinkling, lightly sprinkling. That's a lot of storm. Don Patoka says flood season in North Carolina? Absolutely. I want to show you this. Let me show you another photo here that I need to share with you. This is a flash flood advisory that the National Weather Service left us with this afternoon. Western Alexandra County in the Piedmont of North Carolina. Southeastern Burke County, where I am, in western North Carolina. southeastern Caldwell County in western North Carolina until 6:15 p.m. 6:15 p.m. is exactly when the storm let up, and we only were getting very light rain. At 2:19 p.m. this afternoon, Doppler radar indicated heavy rain across the warned area. Between 2.5 and 4 inches of rain have fallen since early this morning. 2.5 to 4 inches have fallen. I believe we probably have gotten 4 inches of that here in Morganton. Judging by the way my garden looks, my garden is flooded. The expected rainfall rate is 1 to 2 inches an hour. That was at 2:19 p.m. 1 to 2 inches an hour. Additional rainfall amounts of 1 to 2 inches are possible in the warned area. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. It did. They sounded sirens for the flash flood advisory. Hazard: flash flooding caused by heavy rain. Source: radar. Yeah, radar. We saw it personally. Impact: flash flooding of small creeks, streams, and even rivers. Urban areas, highways, streets, underpasses, as well as other poor drainage or low-lying areas. Some locations that will experience flash flooding include Lenoir. Lenoir is about 20-25 minutes northwest of us. Morganton, that's where I live. Taylorsville is about 45 minutes north of us. St. Stephen's, I have no clue where that is. Longview, that's somewhere over on the other side of Hickory. Sawmills, Granite Falls, Valdez. Granite Falls is just north of Valdez. That's where I used to live. Gamewell, Bethlehem, North Carolina. Hudson, Salem. Icard is about 15 minutes away from us going north. Cages Mountain. Drexel is about 10 minutes away. That's where my doctor is. Hildebrand is about 10 minutes away. Connolly Springs is about 15 to 20 minutes away. Rutherford College is about 15 minutes away. Glen Alpine is just south of us by about 15 minutes. Roadheath is about 20 minutes north of us as well. These areas are still under flash flood advisory, and I believe that the areas are flash flooding are streams and local rivers. I know that for a fact. I haven't been out walking around or driving around because I don't want to be out in the flood. I don't want to be around in the heavy rain. I experienced heavy rain yesterday about 3:30, and then it let up until early this morning. Heavy rain forcing me to have my windshield wipers flying, literally. They were flying. It's incredible. That's what we faced all day today. Now, tomorrow I plan on going out to take my wife to a dentist appointment over in Hickory, which is about 17-18 miles away from us. So we will be leaving here about 10 o'clock in the morning to take her to her doctor's appointment. But folks, this is heavy rain. Now, I don't expect this to stay around into tonight, but it might. I am hoping that it will die down tonight and it will be sunny by tomorrow. However, I want to show you another picture here. Let me see if I can find it here. This is here, right there. This is the storm that we've been having here since last night. Now I want you to see this. Look how far the storm goes out. I took this screenshot from my Storm Shield app on my phone about 4 p.m. Look where we're at right now. Okay? Yes, the rain has lessened, but the effects of the rain haven't finished passing us. We still have thunderstorms and a line of rain that will probably continue for the next 2 to 3 hours. I hope it doesn't last much longer than that. I also want to show you something else here. Okay? I want to show you this. This is important. Look at this. See that dot there? That's where I live in Morganton. You see, I don't see. That's a misstatement there. Right here is Hickory right there. That's where my wife's doctor's appointment is tomorrow morning. Morganton is still getting hit. Now let me back this out. Look at this line of thunderstorms that's still going on. All this rain is still coming in. All that rain is still coming in. Let me back it out even further. Look at all this rain here. It's not even gotten here yet. It hasn't even gotten close. We right here are right in the middle of the storm here. This is the cone of uncertainty of Debby. Debby is over here. This is the eye of the storm here. Debby is going straight north here. The cone of uncertainty. So we are right smack dab in the middle of the storm. Now this morning, the storm went all the way down to down into Tallahassee, Florida. All the way straight south of Tallahassee, Florida. It's not there anymore. The storm has moved north. We still have storm over here in northern Georgia, as you can see. The storm is still over here in South Carolina. So we still have a lot of rain coming in from South Carolina into North Carolina tonight and maybe even in tomorrow. That's what we have for now. Now, I may have something else for you if you'll just stand by for me for just a second. It's important. If it wasn't important, I wouldn't be showing you this.
Hey everybody, happy Thursday. As you can see, I am tracking Debby here, close to 1 o'clock when I post this. Heavy rain moving in this morning, probably around sunrise, really picks up middle of the day. The heaviest stuff is all day long until evening. So 7 a.m., 7 p.m., 6 a.m., 6 p.m., somewhere in that 12-hour window, it's going to rain. Temperatures in the 70s, gusty winds. So flooding's our biggest concern, 3 to 6 inches of rain in our area. Yeah, wind gust as high as 35, so with the wet ground, you could see a power outage here or there, but that's mainly because of tree branch touching power line, not widespread. I'm not anticipating that. So just be ready for the rain. Fine by Friday though, so it's just about today. Stay safe, stay dry, and stay weather aware.
Okay. That's important. That's our weatherman with WCNC TV. He's the chief meteorologist. He's smart. I've known him for about 2 years now. He's very smart. I don't know how this happened, but my camera just got knocked all over the place. Probably because I lost control of my pad. My tablet, I should say. Let me fix this screen here so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, I think we're set now. Go figure. Anyway, that's what happened today. We've had widespread storms up and down the entire state. Over where Renee Steppe is, she's probably seen her share of rain here as well. A lot of rain. Now, we've been tracking, other than that storm, Tropical Storm Debby since Monday. Okay? Let's track something else. Okay? There's a lot of other things going on here. I want to go over to, are you kidding me? I want to go over to Central California or Southern California just north of Los Angeles. Okay, this is what else has been going on here. Sorry guys, I didn't realize that this slide was going to be so big. Let me reduce it in size here. Sorry guys. This is that earthquake that happened over in California that we've been talking about for the past 3 days. Okay? Lamont, California. Sorry about that, I've been bouncing this all over here. There are 38 earthquakes here today. 38 aftershocks from that earthquake earlier today. Now, what did I say that earthquake was? I told everybody after I analyzed all the data that that earthquake was a 6.6 earthquake. Today we have 38 aftershocks. As of last night, we had over 350 aftershocks. So this makes it close to 400 aftershocks so far. And the aftershocks keep hitting. One of the aftershocks today was a 4.8, a moderate 4.8 earthquake. That's a big deal. I believe these earthquakes are probably going to continue for quite some time. Now, they can always say anything they want, as they normally do. They always tell us one thing or the other. It doesn't make it true, though. That's the issue. It doesn't make it the truth. They said this earthquake came in as a 5.7. They immediately downgraded to a 5.2. That's a half magnitude downgrade. That's BS. This is absolutely BS. Okay? A half magnitude downgrade here. And it's still shaking. This was a 6.6 earthquake. A very strong 6.6 earthquake. We are probably going to see aftershocks here for probably years now. It's not just going to be months, it's going to be years. I don't expect this event to close for quite some time. It's going to hit for quite some time. Yes, we are seeing 2.5 minor earthquakes as well. We are seeing 3.0, 3.9 earthquakes. We saw a 4.8 earlier this afternoon. We've even seen 5.0s, which means their lousy 5.2 is BS. You do not get a 5.0 aftershock if the earthquake was only a 5.2. Okay? It's a lie. It's an absolute lie. Don Patoka says they should have made it a 4.2 bigger lie. Exactly. I totally agree. It's all lies. It's all smoke and mirrors. Okay? But I want to show you this because that area is still rocking. People are still feeling this earthquake. I want to make that very clear. It's going to continue for quite some time now. Please understand that. It's not going away. Now we've had another earthquake. Over in southeastern Japan. Miyazaki, Japan. This came in earlier as a 7.1 earthquake. Notice what they are saying this earthquake is. It is not a 5.4 earthquake. It is not a 5.4 earthquake. This is 2 magnitudes less than what they said it was in the beginning. They said it was a 7.1. Now they've downgraded this to a large 5.4. A 7.1 is a major earthquake. A 7.1 earthquake is a major quake, and you can see these aftershocks. You can see these aftershocks. I want you to know one thing. There were four shocks. There were four shocks. One was a 2.49. Another one was a 3.49. and another one was a 5.1. You don't have a 5.1 foreshock and then have a 5.4 shortly thereafter. This is also BS, smoke and mirrors. Okay? Renee Seppi says it came across as a 7.2 on her earthquake app. I agree. It came across my earthquake app as a 7.2 as well. For USGS to show this as a 5.4 is a joke. It is not a 5.4. Prismo Omega says he saw it as a 7.3. Yes, they are downgrading it. This is a shame. This is a downright false lie. It's a lie. USGS is going to get themselves bit in the butt over this. They're going to get themselves bit in the butt. Let me tell you something. Let me give you some information about this Japanese earthquake today. Okay? It's a big deal. It's a huge deal. Again, the Japanese Meteorological Agency today said that they had had a major powerful 7.1 magnitude trembler that struck off its southeastern coast, sparking a tsunami advisory, but no immediate reports of serious damage or injuries. No serious damage or injuries here. Thursday morning's earthquake occurred off the coast of Miyazaki Prefecture at about 4:42 a.m. local time, 3:42 a.m. Eastern time, at a depth of about 18 miles. So this was a shallow earthquake. This is a shallow earthquake. Japan has issued an unprecedented mega earthquake advisory. The country of Japan has now issued an unprecedented mega earthquake advisory for the rising risk of an unbelievable earthquake, an unbelievable massive tremor that's possible within the next 7 days. They believe they're going to have another 9.0 to 10.0 earthquake. That's what makes what they're saying here as a horse show. It was not a 5.4 earthquake. It was at least a 7.1, if not larger, earthquake. This was a very shallow earthquake. What have we been telling you about shallow earthquakes? Strong, shallow earthquakes create very large damage. Shallow earthquakes, most of the time, create very large damage when they are as large as this is. And now, the country of Japan has issued a major mega earthquake advisory into next week for at least the next 7 days. This is important. And I'm going to be repeating this warning for the next 7 days. The earthquake occurred off the coast of Miyazaki Prefecture at about 3:42 a.m. Eastern Time, 18 miles deep. 3 people have been reported injured. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshimasa Hayashi said, although he added there had been no blackouts or damage to the water or the communication systems in the region. Police in Miyazaki Prefecture said there had been 10 reports of damage. Hayashi urged residents to stay away from the coastline. Stay away from the coastline. Now, I happen to know that there was just minor tsunamis occurring around Japan, and those tsunamis did not pose any threat to Hawaii or the United States or any other country. These were local tsunami threats. Seismologists held an emergency meeting today to analyze whether that quake had affected the nearby Naika Trough. That is the earthquake fault just south of Japan there. It's a very deep earthquake trough. It is an earthquake fault out in the southern Pacific. Now, the source of past devastating earthquakes has been that trough. The Meteorological Agency has ultimately issued what it called a mega earthquake caution. A mega earthquake caution, assessing that the possibility of a much larger earthquake was relatively higher than usual, but not one that would definitely occur in the near future. They're saying it's possible that it could occur. The Meteorological Agency and the USGS and Japanese seismologists have said they are urging the country's residents to practice increased vigilance for at least the next week. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said this afternoon, quote, "We are asking all citizens to carefully check every new information that's issued by the government, reconfirm their daily earthquake preparedness, and be ready to evacuate immediately in the event of an earthquake." That is good advice. This is very good advice. Tsunami waves of up to 1.6 feet were detected along parts of Kyushu's southern coast and the nearby island of Shikoku. About a half hour after the quake struck, Japanese broadcaster NHK said Miyazaki Port had reported a surge of 20 inches. A surge of 20 inches, a nearly 2-foot surge of water. That's a tsunami of 20 inches. That said, most of the damage so far has been relatively light. Police in Miyazaki Prefecture said there have been some reports of landslides and some traffic lights that have stopped working. NHK Broadcasting said some windows were broken at the Prefecture Airport and that the runway had temporarily closed for checks. That's normal procedure for any airport, to temporarily close the airport for runway checks to make sure there's no cracks or any damage that would cause aircraft to take off or land and collapse and crash on landing. They don't want that naturally. You all know that. Meanwhile, in neighboring Kagoshima Prefecture, concrete walls collapsed and a wooden house was damaged. Concrete walls collapsed and a wooden house was damaged. Of the people injured across the two prefectures, 2 are reported to be older women who were taken to a nearby hospital after falling, while another was a female factory worker that was struck in the back of the head by a falling object. What is the procedure to take care of yourself during an earthquake? We've been telling everybody that the proper procedure is to duck under a heavy table or a desk. That worker may not have had that, because falling objects are the most dangerous thing to have happen during or after an earthquake. Again, the best procedure you need to do is get under a table or a heavy desk. That way that table would be able to protect yourself. Get under that table or desk and hold on. Duck, cover, and hold on. That's a procedure you need to do during and after an earthquake. Make sure you do that and protect yourself and all of your family members as well. Take all of your family members, especially children and your pets, and get under a good-sized table and or a desk. Duck, cover, and hold on. Get your body completely underneath that table and or desk. Cover and hold on. Okay? I don't know how many times I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to continue to talk about this because this channel primarily talks about earthquakes. Now, the Nuclear Regulatory Authority in Japan and the United States have said that all 12 nuclear reactors on Kyushu and Shikoku remain safe. All 12 nuclear reactors in Japan in that area remain safe and operational. The plants have been a major concern in the past especially after that massive 9.0 earthquake that we had over in Fukushima back in 2011. We need to be earthquake aware. We need to be knowing what's going on and take care of business. Okay? Knowing what's going on and taking care of business. Does anybody have any questions about any of the earthquakes we talked about, either in California or Japan? I want to make sure we talk about it all. I want to make sure, I'm sorry the microphone was way too far up. I want to make sure we're taking care of everybody. Yes, we have people in Japan that watch this program. We have people from all over the world that watch this program. I want to make sure we get this information out. I appreciate that. Okay? Rebecca's saying that EMSC is listing this as a 7.1 earthquake. I appreciate that. It's too bad the USBS is not saying that. And yes, I got this photo just off the USBS site. Unreal. Sweet Polly Purebred is asking, can we talk about the effects of the incoming CMEs could have on earthquakes? I will be happy to do that right now. Yes, we have had some more CMEs. During the past week, we've had several X-class flares. We have had several X-class flares. Right before I came on the air, I was notified by Mark Wages. We've had another X-class flare off the sun, and the solar radiation is already en route to the Earth. Some of that radiation has already reached the Earth. The X-ray radiation has reached the Earth within a matter of hours. Within the next 3 days, by Sunday, probably at the latest, we're going to see the effects of an X-class flare hitting the Earth, meaning disruption in communications at least. TV and radio stations, you're going to find out either your satellite or television stations on satellite may have problems, even if you have cable. You're going to see communications disruption on televisions. Communications via satellites in NASA, or Roscosmos in Russia, including the space station. They're going to have problems communicating. It's not just the voice communication either. It's data relay satellites, what they call TDRS. Data relay satellites. Okay? They're going to have communications problems with satellites and the space station and any other spacecraft they're going to be or possibly even launching. I don't believe that SpaceX will be launching anything in the next day or so. They usually don't launch when we have flares that are disrupting communications. They don't want to take the chance. Okay? They don't want to take the chance. What else is going to happen? We've talked about police, fire, and paramedic radios also having problems. Communications. Ham radio operators are also going to experience problems. Everybody needs to check their radio systems. Everybody needs to be aware of what's going on around you. Now, these X-class flares produce plasma radiation. The plasma radiation doesn't just affect radios and televisions and communications equipment. These X-class flare radiation, pulse radiation signals from the sun affect human beings and animals all over the Earth, especially with Earth facing the sun. Earth facing the sun. Now, I believe that's what's happened with us. Numbers of you have told me that you're affected, you're seeing neurological and physiological effects that you weren't sure what happened. I have a feeling that those of you that are seeing those effects just even today, it's because of the solar flare, the X-class flare launched from the sun. You need to take care of yourselves. Stay indoors if you absolutely have to. Stay indoors. don't go outside. If you're going outside, make sure your body is covered. Wear a hat, in the very least. Wear long sleeve shirts and long sleeve or long pants and shoes. Cover your body as much as possible. That way your clothes might be subjected to the radiation, and it's going to cut down on the amount of radiation your body's going to have. All animals are basically 60-70% of water. All bodies, humans or animals, are 60 to 70% water. That means our bodies are going to absorb that radiation. We must protect ourselves. Stay inside your cars, inside your houses to help protect yourselves. Be safe out there. Don't take any unnecessary risks. Demon Catman says he doesn't have enough string to reach communications with Dawn in Salt Lake. That's hilarious. Way to go, Dean. I needed to see that tonight. Dean is one of my best friends. I appreciate all of you guys. I really do. I love all of you. I really do. I sometimes say it goes without saying, but I want to say it. You guys need to know how much I love and appreciate you. All of you. Now, Rebecca's saying too many clouds out here. LOL. The clouds aren't going to stop the plasma radiation. I'm sorry. The clouds aren't going to stop the electrical and the plasma radiation. It's not going to happen. In fact, if you have clouds out, that might make it worse. So take care of each other. Take care of your families. Take care of your kids and grandkids. Take care of your friends. Share this information widely. Share this program with everybody that you know. Your family, your extended family. Share this program with your friends and neighbors. Show this program or share it with your social media contacts and even the people you work with. Share far and wide. Subscribe to this program if you want to hear this information that we have for you. And I guarantee you there's information that you need. Every day. Every day you need this information. So please subscribe to this program, and when you subscribe, also hit that little bell icon. That little bell icon right next to the subscription button. After you subscribe, hit that bell icon. A drop-down menu will come up with 3 items. Click on the word ALL. Click on the word ALL. That way you'll get notified when we come on the air. As I've told you before, I typically come on the air between 6 and 7 p.m. Eastern Time every day, Monday through Friday. We will come on the air in the middle of the night, the middle of the day, anytime when there's an emergency going on. We will always do that because we want everybody to know what's going on, and you're not going to find out that information anywhere else. We talk about it here. We share disaster information. We share emergency preparedness information as well. So please come here. Tell your friends and everybody to come here for that information. Share it far and wide. Subscribe to this channel so you get notified. Please do that. Okay? Also, please notice that YouTube keeps unsubscribing people. We are still unsubscribed from 400 people this 2 weeks ago. YouTube unsubscribed 400 people 2 weeks ago. We had over 6,000 subscribers 2 weeks ago, and now we have 5,669 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, please check your subscription and resubscribe. And again, hit that notification bell. And then click on ALL so you get notified when we come on the air. It's important. It's very important. We want you to know that. Please also be notified that we do have a way you can help support this channel. We have 2 PayPal locations. right below this video that you're watching tonight, in our top of our program description. You have a way of becoming a member of the YouTube channel here, of the EMA channel here on YouTube. That link is also in the top of that program description. Our email address is also there, so you can send me messages. Our PayPal locations and our Venmo address are right below that as well. So please help support us to keep this channel on the air. It would be very important for that. I appreciate all of your help and your love and passion for what we're doing here. I appreciate that. Now, Don Patoka says, notice, YouTube, you, Y-O-U, all of us. Abuse of this channel feature you will be removed. If you abuse your privileges on this chat, you will be removed. I promise you, you will be removed. My mods will remove you, and or I personally will remove you. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm just telling you. Do you have any questions about anything we've shown you so far? I have a lot more information to show you tonight. Now, with that earthquake in California, I want to show you this. I picked this up last night, okay? We talked about rumors that we had heard that there had been a landslide after that earthquake in California. Again, it was a 6.6, not a 5.2, not a 4.9. It was a 6.6 earthquake. And again, I showed you all those earthquakes are still happening, aftershocks. But right after that earthquake hit, there were reports of landslides, reports of boulders coming down the hillside and ending up on the southbound lane of Interstate 15. The southbound lane of Interstate 15, somewhere in the Grapevine area. Now, I showed you all those aftershocks today. There may still be landslides happening. Yes, some of those aftershocks were minor and small earthquakes. But we've also had moderately sized earthquakes, 4.0 to 4.9. That could cause further landslides. Also, I told you about a 5.2. That's a large earthquake. That can also help cause a landslide. So if you guys are coming from Las Vegas or over in Eastern California, if you're going down Interstate 15, be very careful. Slow down. Slow down. I would even say stay in the left-hand lanes as you're going through the Grapevine area. It's a very windy switchback part of the roadway. It's 4 lanes each direction, north and south. Be very careful. If you're going southbound, stay in the left lanes, because the rockfall will probably be in the 2 right lanes or on the shoulder. Be careful. Watch for rocks, watch for dirt and everything else that can cause you to lose control. Watch for landslides in that area. We are going to see these earthquakes and aftershocks continue for a very long time. Okay? It's going to happen. I promise you. Okay. I want to talk about an earthquake that happened here 4 years ago. 4 years ago today. Sparta, North Carolina. Sparta, North Carolina is about an hour and a half northwest of where I live. I have pictures of this earthquake I want to share with you today. This is damage in a home. This is damage in a home where trinkets and product on shelves fell off and were damaged. Some of them beyond repair. Some of them beyond repair. It was just a 5.1 earthquake. A large 5.1 earthquake. Let me show you another picture here. Look at this. Glass falling from a light fixture. glass falling from the light fixture and exploding on the floor. 4 years ago today. Let me show you another one. Product falling out of cupboards in the kitchen. Cupboards and shelves were emptied by that earthquake. And I'm going to talk extensively about this earthquake. I went up to Sparta, North Carolina, 1 year from the day that it happened. Now we are out 4 years later. And I've talked for a short time every year. Now I'm showing you pictures of what happened. I'm showing you pictures of what happened. Folks, this is necessary to show you. We keep talking about earthquakes here in North Carolina. This happened just an hour and a half northwest of where I live. Now, 2 years ago, we had a 4.5 here in Morganton. We had a 4.5 here in Morganton, just west of where I live now. What happened? We felt a lot of shaking going on. And honestly, I thought we might be having a 5.0 large quake. It was only a 4.5 moderate earthquake. A moderate earthquake. Look at this. Canned goods falling to the floor. Someone had pickles that they had canned, and the bottle fell off the shelf and burst. Unreal. Let's look at this. Look at this, guys. Damage to product that fell off a shelf again. Incredible. Incredible. Product and kitchen utensils, pots and pans, falling off of shelves, collapsing on the floor. Incredible. Incredible. That's not all, folks. There's more. There's more. Let's look at this. This is a food line. They call it food line stores. It's like a Safeway store here in North Carolina. Again, product falling off the shelves. In this case, it looks like root beer or Dr. Pepper. Another product. Stuff falling off the shelves and collapsing on the floor with damage. Okay? There's more. This next picture was damage that the mayor of Sparta showed me the picture, and I took a screenshot of the picture off of his phone. This was his house. Plates and dishes falling out of the cupboards and collapsing and breaking into a million pieces on his floor. Pots and pans, silverware falling out of cupboards and shelves, falling to the floor. Sparta, North Carolina. A 5.1 earthquake. A 5.1 earthquake. Let me show you two more, maybe three more. Look at this. Again, this is at his house. Look at all the damage here. You can see product on the floor from the cupboards. You can see shelves that came out of their depositories in the kitchen and coming out and nearly falling on the floor themselves. That's a lot of damage. That's a ton of damage. Let me show you another one. And this one's kind of important. Look at this crack in the wall. Look at this crack in the wall. It was an inch thick. An inch thick. From ceiling to floor. What it doesn't show is the foundation of the house was separated from the house itself. The foundation of the house was separated from the house itself. The house slid off its foundation. Incredible. Yes, it can happen here in North Carolina. I promise you it can happen here. Look at this. Okay, I already showed you this. I'm sorry. I showed you this. Now I want to show you where Sparta is located. Okay, this is where Sparta is located. Just so you know. If you measure back kind of diagonal going to the south, that's where I live, in Morganton, North Carolina. I live south of Charlotte, but also west of Charlotte. An hour and a half southwest, or actually southeast of this quake in Sparta, North Carolina. Sparta is up in the mountains. Sparta is up on the Continental Divide. That's why this earthquake hit. It's on the Continental Divide. What have we told you about the Continental Divide? The Mid-Atlantic Fault is pushing on the North American Fault. The reason we have a Continental Divide is because the Mid-Atlantic Fault has been pushing on the North American Fault for a lot of years, causing the uplift in the mountains, causing the Continental Divide to rise. Okay? Let me show you something else. I'm going to talk about this for a minute. Guess what else happened on August 8th at 8:07 a.m. in 2020? Again, a 5.1 magnitude earthquake hit Sparta, North Carolina at 8:07 a.m. The epicenter of the quake struck at 8:07, about a mile southeast of Sparta, in Allegheny County, North Carolina, near the North Carolina-Virginia border, about 90 miles north of Charlotte. It was the sixth earthquake in the area in a little more than 24 hours. 5 other foreshocks hit before this main earthquake hit. The strongest of the aftershocks was, the smallest of the foreshocks, not the smallest, but the strongest of the foreshocks was a 2.6 minor earthquake. A 2.6 minor earthquake. That tremor struck about 2 miles south of Sparta at about 1:57 a.m. Just 6 hours before the main quake. 6 hours before the main quake. When I went up here 3 years ago, I met with Sparta Mayor Wes Bringer. He said it sounded like a locomotive going by the house. He heard the plates rubbing together. He heard the earthquake plates rubbing together. The fault rubbing together. He said, we had a little bit of structural damage here, not much. Our town is very good. He said, we lost a few bricks and a few chimneys, no broken windows. A 7-year-old boy suffered a minor cut on his knee when a picture frame fell off the wall onto him. Again, this was a large earthquake. Moderate earthquakes, we can expect picture frames to fall off walls, knickknacks and other items falling off shelves, plates and other things rattling and possibly falling off shelves with a moderate earthquake. But this was a large earthquake. I showed you the damage. That was the only injury reported, was that 7-year-old boy. Not even a minute passed and the side-to-side motion started. Not even a minute passed and the side-to-side motion of the earthquake started. He said it takes a minute to realize what's happening, and you just can't believe it. Then as soon as it started, it ended. It was over. It was loud. It was like God was shaking a mountain at you, literally. Listen to what the Allegheny County Sheriff said. Brian Main says he was getting ready for church when stuff started falling off the wall. The house appeared to shift, and it felt like it might fall down. He said the house was shifting, and it felt like the house was going to fall down. He started getting some sheetrock damage. I showed you the crack in that wall. He said my chimney was starting to crack. Several houses had structural damage. We have folks out there right now. Their houses have shifted 1 or 2 inches off their foundation. I actually saw a house, and I can't find the picture to show you, but I actually saw a house about 8 inches off its foundation. The house had shifted 8 inches off the foundation. That was a year later. They still had not repaired all the damage from the year before. One of the biggest things for law enforcement then was to calm the waters, to make people feel safe again, for people to live in peace and not be in fear right now. He said, we live in a mountain community. Again, this was on the Continental Divide. We all plan on taking care of each other. There are folks who have had to leave their homes because it's not safe inside. I showed you the damage of quite a few homes in the area. It's a pretty big event, he said. There is damage in the town of about 1,800 people. Now, the mayor said that the foundation of his home was cracked and items fell off the shelves of his home, and I showed you damage to his home. Again, he said it was like a big locomotive going by and a big wave coming underneath the bed. He said, I have lived here my whole life, and I've never felt anything like this. A portion of North Main Street, and I was able to walk up and down Main Street. They were having a car show that day. I was fortunate enough to walk up and down Main Street. At the time of the quake, it was closed because of the damage. There were cracks in the roadway. Officials feared damage to the buildings, including the Allegheny County Courthouse, because the Allegheny County Courthouse was built in the early 1900s, and it was built of brick, and they thought the brick would drop off onto the street. The courthouse is literally built right next to the street. Twitter users all across North and South Carolina said that they felt this quake, including Twitter users in Virginia and Tennessee. Remember, Sparta, North Carolina is right next to the Virginia border. Houses shook for 4 or 5 seconds. Town Councilman Cole Edwards, who I also met 3 years ago, was jolted awake by the quake. He said there was no damage to his home, but it did break some dishes and knock some pictures off the wall. We've had a lot of scared folks this morning, he said. That was the most intense shaking he's ever had. The most intense shaking that he's ever seen. That's what happens. Limea Atambina of Rockville, Maryland, also said that he felt this quake. All the way up in Maryland, over 1,000 miles away, he said they felt this quake. This was a large 5.1 quake. He said, I felt my bed shaking ever so slightly, and I knew it was an unmistakable feel of an earthquake. But it was quite subtle up in Maryland. The origin of the quake had to be far away. The earthquake rumbled at a depth of 5.7 miles. Again, this was another very shallow earthquake. It's always considered a very shallow earthquake when it's that deep. Quakes shallower than 43 miles tend to be more destructive than deeper ones. This marks North Carolina's strongest earthquake since a 5.2 magnitude hit in Mitchell County, about 50 miles northeast of Asheville. Asheville is about an hour and a half southwest of where I live. That 5.2 is probably very close, and I don't know where Mitchell County is, but that 5.2 is probably fairly close to where I live now here in Morganton. That happened on July 8th, 1926. Another earthquake happened in 1916. It was a magnitude 5.5 large quake. It shook Skyland, North Carolina. Social media posts about this 5.1 over in Sparta said it showed cracked roadways, bricks falling off of chimneys and broken dishes. A video showed a broken water line and buckled roads in Sparta. Now, I don't know where my picture is of the roadway that still had not been completely repaired in Sparta. Again, it was the main drag in Sparta. They were having a car show that day I was there. It was a Saturday. I showed you photos from the Food Line grocery store there in Sparta. Items knocked off the shelves, broken bottles, and a damaged light fixture hanging from the ceiling. After the earthquake in 2020, scientists announced that they found a new fault line in the area. Well, gee whiz, how many times have we heard that? After an earthquake, they find a new fault line, just like happened at Ridgecrest. They found the Garlock Fault after the earthquake at Ridgecrest. In 2020, they found a new fault line over in Sparta. The fault that made the Sparta earthquake likely has many other earthquakes in the geological recent times.
The National Weather Service has issued a flash flood warning.
The National Weather Service has issued a flash flood warning. Go figure. Anyway, I'm going to talk about this flash flood warning in just a second. Now, the mayor in Sparta told us that this earthquake didn't pop out of anywhere. Yes, there are earthquake faults all over the area, even down here in Morganton. The earthquake up in Sparta was a very shallow quake caused by a ground surface rupture on a previously unknown fault line. The picture that I'm showing you now is part of that ground fault rupture. That ground fault rupture at the surface. Isn't that interesting? You can actually see the fault rupture here. Okay? This is the first documented surface rupture earthquake in the eastern United States. Again, this was a shallow earthquake caused by a ground surface rupture on a previously unknown fault line. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with this area, they call this the Piedmont region. The Blue Ridge Mountains are part of the eastern Appalachian Mountains, which formed due to an ancient continental collision with the African plate. Thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, after the Earth was being formed, the African continent collided with the North American continent. Okay? All of this is as a result of that collision. The main shock source area was in the Blue Ridge Mountains of the Allegheny, or what they call the Allegheny orogeny. Faults in this part of the region typically trend to the northeast. And that's exactly what happened here in Sparta, North Carolina 4 years ago. 4 years ago today. The earthquake ruptured along a fault trend consistent with the west-northwest to east-west striking structures. Structures. What does that mean? Let me take down this picture so I can explain this to you. Okay? This striking surface is a strike-slip plate, strike-slip fault, just like this. This is why that earthquake hit here in Sparta, North Carolina. It was a strike-slip fault just like this. Where else have we seen strike-slip faults? How about the San Andreas? How about the San Jacinto? And quite a few other faults in California. What are we looking for? We just got through having a 6.6 earthquake over there just north of Los Angeles. We're looking for a 7.0 earthquake when that happened. We now can wipe that off our chalkboard. But we're still seeing and still looking for another earthquake near the border region of Mexico and U.S. a strike slip fault. A strike slip fault. Do you have any questions for me about the earthquake in Japan, or the earthquake up just north of Los Angeles, or this earthquake here in North Carolina? I told you guys I was going to show you pictures, and I've done that. I told you guys I was going to talk about it, which I've done. I tried to explain it to you in ways that you'll understand it. This was a big deal. Okay? Those thrust areas, the thrust strike slip, the thrust strike slip, similar to what we're going to see in Cascadia, a megathrust. Again, Japan is looking for a megathrust earthquake down there in southern Japan. That's why we're talking about this. That's exactly why we're talking about this. It can happen again. Now with this earthquake in Sparta, between August 8th and the 28th, 20 days, there were 20 recorded aftershocks. There were 20 recorded aftershocks. But guess what? Remember the USGS called this a 5.1 earthquake? Let me tell you something else. Within 30 days after this alleged 5.1 earthquake, USGS said that this was probably a 6.0 to a 7.0 earthquake. A 6.0 to a 7.0 earthquake. Yes, it didn't cause major damage as a very strong 6 would or a major 7.0 would. But the intensity of that earthquake was a 6.0, 7.0 earthquake. Earthquake ruptured along the previously unmapped fault line in the upper bedrock, and I showed you the surface of that quake. It ruptured the upper bedrock. That was the first time anybody'd ever seen that. Okay? So the severe damage happened in Sparta. It further impacted businesses which were already affected by the COVID-19 pandemic in North Carolina. The town's manager, Ryan Wilmoth, who I talked to on the phone, said there were very minor injuries, but he did not specify the number of people injured. The only person we heard was injured was a 7-year-old boy who got injured with his arm from falling things out of a cupboard, probably. Many homes and businesses were involved in the infrastructure damage. Most were material damage that had been left to structure. The structure's integrity had been affected. A majority of structural damage was observed by unreinforced brick and masonry. Where have we heard that before? Wyoming and Montana, when the Hebgen Lake Fault hit in 1959. Unreinforced masonry fell. Chimneys and walls fell. Masonry and concrete. Okay? In Sparta, within a week of the earthquake, there were 60 cases of serious damage and 465 cases of minor damage. 17 buildings were listed as unsafe. 17 buildings were listed as unsafe. 5 were eventually demolished. 19 people lost their homes. 19 people lost their homes with a 5.1 earthquake, or a 6.0, 7.0 earthquake. After a month, USGS decided to come clean. Now, there was also other damage. A landscaping nursery farm just outside of Sparta was also damaged. Part of their parking structure was damaged, the parking lot. The nursery also had plants that were damaged and ruined. The owner of that nursery said the repair cost could be several $100s. The The Allegheny Administrative County offices were also damaged. The earthquakes and aftershock damaged the water supply network and ripped headstones from the ground from the cemetery and toppled and or destroyed chimneys in the area. Parts of Tennessee, Ohio, and Washington, D.C. and Atlanta also felt the earthquake. It was a lot stronger than a 5.1. It was a lot stronger than a 5.1. For buildings and people to feel that earthquake 1,000 miles away or longer, further. Again, Ohio, nearly 2,000 miles away from this earthquake, they felt this earthquake. Again, USGS lied about it. Sparta received $112,000 in state assistance after that quake. State assistance. The town's mayor also asked FEMA for state financial aid. The Small Business Administration issued $1.17 million in loans. Earthquake and its aftermath did not meet FEMA's disaster assistance criteria, meaning FEMA did not give them any money. But the legislature of the state of North Carolina allocated $24 million in relief. $24 million in relief. This project and its funding established a 3-year project that's still in existence today, an earthquake recovery program operated by the Office of State Budget and Management and North Carolina Emergency Management. 1 year later, in 2021, there were over 230 requests for home repair assistance, averaging $44,000 per home. 230 requests for home repair assistance, $44,000 per home. 9 people were displaced from their households. 9 people were displaced from their households. Those people received assistance from the Red Cross. The USGS, for its part, says earthquakes become destructive at magnitude of 4.0, 5.0. No duh. But they deny it most of the time. Most of the time, USGS denies it. And I want to show you this because we've been promising to talk about that earthquake in Sparta for quite some time. When we had that 4.5 2 years ago, I talked about it, and I showed you pictures of this area. It didn't cause much damage. It was only a 4.5 moderate earthquake. It can knock pictures and things off of walls, knickknacks and things off of shelves. But a 5.1 caused all that damage, and later the USBS said it was probably a 6.0, 7.0 earthquake. Go figure. Go figure. Betty Zoom is here in the chat saying, I came to Ron's channel and I learned a lot. Thank you, Betty. We appreciate it. Latoya Taylor is here. Thank you, Latoya, for being here. I appreciate all of you being here. It means a lot to me. Please subscribe to this channel so you can continue getting information about earthquakes, tornadoes, and hurricanes and tropical storms. By the way, Tropical Storm Debby has left 4 tornadoes in the last 24 hours here in North Carolina. 4 tornadoes have struck here in North Carolina, causing minor damage. Just so you know. Does anybody have any questions about anything we talked about? I've covered a lot in a very short time period. I've covered a lot in the last short time period. I appreciate all of you being here. I really do. My wife and I really appreciate it. My wife appreciates all of your support to keep this channel on the air. we were really beginning to wonder about continuing this channel when prices skyrocketed this past month. And they did skyrocket. We appreciate your support. Yes, today we've had a lot of flooding. In fact, we got a flood warning, a flash flood warning here just a few minutes ago. Let me pull that information up as well. Okay, you heard that flash flood warning come out. The National Weather Service in Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina has extended the flash flood warning for southeastern Burke County, Morganton, North Carolina, and western North Carolina until 10 p.m. tonight. At 7:54 p.m., area streams continue to rise and remain above bankful access. Bankful out access, meaning the water is spilling over the banks of the streams and rivers. That is because of the rainfall that we earlier had today. Again, it was upwards of 4 inches of rain within a matter of hours. That is a year's full of rain within a matter of hours. Okay? This is because of Tropical Storm Cyclone Debby. Burke County Emergency Management reports continue coming in showing flooding along Hunting Creek, which continues to slowly rise above minor flood stage. Burke County 911 recently reported flooding at Mount Home Church Road, which is just about a mile and a half from here. Mount Home Church Road, about a mile and a half here. Flooding of Enola Road, which is about a half mile from here. Enola Road, just about half mile from here. Hunting Creek is impacting Pete Britton Road as well, with imminent flooding and possibly impacting Coal Chute Road. Yes, Coal Chute Road. There's there are coal tipples. There are coal tipples here. They used to mine coal here in the mountains. Okay? Coal Chute Road and areas near East Fleming Drive. East Fleming Drive is just out behind me here. East Fleming Drive is out behind me here. Okay? Road closures are likely to continue for the next few hours as area streams remain elevated. Therefore, the flash flood warning is going to continue until at least 10 p.m. tonight to allow smaller, flashy streams to crest and floodwaters to start to recede from area roadways. Please avoid all flooded roadways and obey all barricades. Even if the roads are no longer flooded, erosion beneath the road can continue. The roadway can become undermined from the water flowing underneath the road. If you happen to go under or over that roadway and there's been water that's eroded the ground underneath the roadway, it's going to collapse. And you're going to find your car going into a hole. Also, please do not walk or run across any flooded roadways. Again, if that roadway is damaged in any way, you'll be caught. And even 6 inches of water can knock you off your feet and carry you downstream. Don't do that either. 12 inches of rainfall on the road can wash even a Suburban or an SUV down the road. Okay, hazard. Service may have been compromised and you should stay off the road that would cause the water to collapse the roadway under the weight of a vehicle. Turn around and find an alternate route. Don't chance it. Hazardous flash flooding caused by heavy rain. Impact. Flash flooding of creeks and streams is ongoing. Expect extensive flash flooding of farmland, parks, greenways. There are a lot of parks here. There's a park just north of me, just north of where Carol and I live, over here. Right in front of us. Okay? Right in front of us. Golf courses. Yes, there are a couple golf courses here too. Boat access areas will also be flooded out. Don't even attempt to get near a boat access. Not anywhere near a boat access ramp. Okay? A very few low water crossing roads and bridges may be flooded and impassable, with deeper flows over roadways. A few roadway washouts are possible. Some locations will experience flash flooding, including Morganton, Longview, Valdez, where I used to live, Salem, which is south of us, Icard, which is north of us, Drexel, which is 10 minutes away from us, Hildebrand, which is about 17 miles north of us, Connolly Springs, which is about 15 minutes north of us, Rutherford College up near Connolly Springs also, Glen Alpine, which is south of us, Roadheath, which is north of us, and South Mountain State Park, Lake Roadheath, and Hickory Regional Airport. All are going to be flooded. Do not cross flooded roadways. Turn around. Don't drown when encountering flooded roadways. Most flood deaths occur in vehicles. Don't do it. December Mitchell says, YouTube just popped an advertisement in on my viewing of your program. They did the same thing to me. They did the same thing to me, and I am the originator of this program. Unreal. Again, the state is saying, be aware of your surroundings and do not drive on flooded roadways. Again, a flash flood warning is in effect until after 10 p.m. tonight, and they may extend it again. Do you guys have any questions about anything we talked about? Demon Catman says, yeah, December, it's their new thing that's annoying. Yes, it just started this way. It didn't used to be that way. It didn't used to be that way. YouTube is annoying everybody. Canadian Patriot 1 decided to come in here and join us. Hey, Dave, how are you? It's good to see you. He says, I hope you're all well and good this evening. Dave, I appreciate you very much, brother. I really do. Renee Stephanie says, YouTube is getting really creative. They hit both of her devices at once, blocking her ability to follow the chat. Yeah, YouTube's unreal. Just unreal. Becky says, thanks, Ron, for your update. Well, thank you for helping. Yes, Becky has also helped me throughout the day. She's called me with information from the state and from her local area as well. I appreciate that. I passed on the information as well. I passed on the earthquake information as well. There are still earthquakes hitting Southern California. Be aware of it. Be aware of it. Roadways may become impassable as the earthquakes hit, causing landslides. Be careful. Be careful. Okay? We have earthquakes up in the Pacific Northwest. The volcanoes are going. Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens are moving. Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens are moving, and they're moving in a big way. I believe we're getting very close to a Cascadia megathrust earthquake event. Now, I also watched a video that Mark Fugel put on last night. He visited a place over near Seattle. He didn't specifically state the place he went, but he went there. And FEMA vehicles were all over the area. FEMA was staging the vehicles for whatever reason. Most of the vehicles that he showed were communication trailers and communication vehicles. FEMA had already put up antennas in the air, high frequency radio antennas. Marf didn't understand what the antennas were for. The antennas were not normal for that area. They were high frequency radio communication so FEMA could communicate with other FEMA locations around the area. Now, he said it was FEMA 10, but he doesn't understand where FEMA 10 is. FEMA 10 including Oregon, Washington, and Alaska. Oregon, Washington, Alaska. He said it possibly included Idaho. No, Idaho is in FEMA Region 8. FEMA Region 8 is Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and Utah, and Colorado. Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and Utah. FEMA Region 8. Region 10 is Oregon, Washington, and Alaska. Now, I did leave Marf with a note. If he would like to come on my show, I would love to have him. If you talk to Marf before I do, mention to him I would love to talk to him. I would love to talk to Marf, either on his show or in private, so we could have a discussion about what is happening in Cascadia. I have the latest information about the Cascadia megathrust earthquake, and I believe we're coming to a point that earthquake may be imminent. I think it's probably going to happen within the next 5 years, but knowing what we know, it could be imminent. So everybody that lives up in the Pacific Northwest, you need to be prepared. You need to be prepared for what may happen. And it can happen so quickly. It can happen so quickly that your mind would be boggled. Okay? It's not going to be like it was 200 plus years ago. 234 years ago. It's not going to be like that at all. Back then, there might have been 100 people up and down the entire area of Washington and Oregon, and even Canada. Only the American Indians were there. Now it's going to be millions of people that are going to be inconvenienced and killed. Okay? Canadian Patriot and Rebecca are talking about fires. Yes, there are fires, guys. Northern California. Remember the park fire that started over by Chino? That started spreading to the northwest over by Mount Lassen? It's still spreading. I spoke to Rebecca about it earlier, and I meant what I said to her. That fire may continue all the way to the coastline. The park fire might continue all the way to the California coast, burning hundreds of thousand acres in the process. Okay? Ruth Bossig is asking, when does the CMA happen? The CMA has already happened. The coronal mass ejection happened earlier today. The coronal mass ejection from the sun happened earlier today. I think you might be talking about the plasma radiation hitting the Earth. The X-ray radiation has already hit the Earth. The plasma radiation is going to continue going through space and will reach the Earth within the next 72 hours. At that point in time, the plasma radiation will go through the magnetosphere and help shield the Earth somewhat from the effects of the plasma radiation. But the plasma radiation will go through the magnetosphere, through the atmosphere, and it will reach the surface of the Earth. It will cause earthquakes. We already know that when the plasma radiation is shot off from the sun, it hits the Earth just like this. It hits the Earth just like this. It reaches the Earth's surface. When we have faults and plates, all the gunk and the grime that holds the faults in place, all the dirt, all the rock, all the biological material that holds those faults and the plates in place, all that gunk and grime turns into a oily, greasy substance. When that oily, greasy substance happens, it causes the plates and the faults to more freely move like this. So you can guarantee that we're going to have more earthquakes. You can guarantee that we're going to have more earthquakes. Okay? We've seen it happen all week long. I believe that's why we have that 7.1, 7.2 over in Japan. I think that's why we have that 6.6. I believe, I understand, that's why we have that 6.6 in California. We're going to continue to see that. We may even see the Wasatch Fault in Utah move. It hasn't moved in quite some time. The last time the Wasatch Fault moved at all was back in 2018. March 18th, 2018. The Wasatch Fault moved on my mother's birthday. Caused all sorts of damage, millions of dollars in damage in Salt Lake City when that 5.6 hit. It may hit again, but this time it may be stronger. Everybody needs to understand this. Everybody needs to understand this. It can happen at any time, day or night. Don't be scared, be prepared. Don't be scared, be prepared. That's what we always tell people. Now, with that said, tomorrow evening, Friday. Fridays are always Emergency Preparedness Fridays. Yes, we'll talk about the Pacific Northwest. Yes, we will talk about any major other earthquakes that happen. But we're also going to talk about emergency preparedness. If you have questions between now and tomorrow evening, write them down. Come onto this program ready to ask questions because I will help answer your questions. I will help answer your questions. And I have plenty of information. I have files and files and files of information from talks that I've given, from information that I have pulled over the years. I am very happy to share that with you. I'm very happy to share that with you. Does anybody have any questions about anything else? Betty Zoom is saying people are saying that the Jasper burn is almost or identical to the Hawaiian burn. I agree it is. I agree it is. Now, I have been compiling information, but right now I'm not prepared to share that information with you. Yes, it is very close to being identical to what happened in Maui. Okay? It's unfortunate that Jasper, Alberta, Canada, burned down to the ground. The town of Jasper burned down to the ground. If it was indeed lasers, somebody's going to pay for it. I believe the government of Canada and the United States have some explaining to do. Okay? Incredible. Carl Smith says water main broke there recently. I don't know about the water main. Martin DeLoach says energy weapons, I believe, yes. That's exactly what we're talking about. Energy weapons. Damon Catman just put up a chat saying you can send Ron questions and suggestions, information, or complaints by email to rltnspdema@gmail.com. You absolutely can. Renee Stephanie says, how do you charge the government? If we can prove it was energy weapons, all hell's going to break loose. The people in Hawaii have almost proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that's why the Maui fire happened. If we can continue to prove what happens, the governments are going to have to yell. The governments are going to have to yell because guess what? The people are no longer going to stand by and let it happen. The people aren't going to stand by and just let it happen any longer. Now, Big K Harris yesterday said there's going to be civil war if Donald Trump is elected. That there's going to be civil war if Donald Trump even thinks that he's going to be elected. Now it's the Democrat communists that are calling for civil war. Before now, Big K has stated that the MAGA people were calling for civil war. Now it's the Democrats calling for civil war. If we can prove there are new weapons involved in Canada and Maui, all hell's going to break loose. And I think that's going to happen. I think very seriously that's going to happen. My buddy Don says here in the chat, realize who and what are your potential enemies. Realize what are your potential enemies. Ponder and research them. Ponder and research them well, and to mitigate any issues that might manifest before it happens. Watch for it, look for it, study it, research it. That way we can control it, or try to control it. Betty Zoom says she sees no greenway in their plan. I don't either. I don't see any greenway in their plan at all. Canadian Patriot 1 says the fence that was around the White House and the Canadian Parliament should have had armed guards to keep the criminals out, not in. The White House and the Canadian Parliament should have had walls and fences to keep the criminals out, not in. It's unreal what these criminals have done, these communists have done. Unreal. And the communists are continuing. Harris and her new VP running mate are communists, and he's even more dangerous than she is. She's out of touch. He's out of touch. If they prevail, this country's gone. If Big K and her partner prevail, this country's over, done with. And we cannot let that happen. We absolutely cannot let that happen. We cannot let them at our voting machines again. We cannot let them corrupt our voting machines. We cannot let them corrupt our voting process. Not at all. Canadian Patriot 1 says Camelback is giving us a heads up for what the Democrats are planning. You're absolutely right. She's giving us a heads up. She's calling for civil war. Believe me, if she wants civil war, she's got it. If Camelback wants civil war, she's got it. There are enough of us to go up against all of them. Because the communists have been taking weapons away from all of them. Camelback wants to take weapons away from everybody. So we don't have a way to fight back. We can't let that happen again. Now, Canadian Patriot 1 has made a statement that I want to explain in case you don't know what he's talking about. Canadian Patriot 1 is talking about Walz, the governor of Minnesota, who is now the VP running mate of Camelback. He's in trouble. He is in a lot of trouble. He should be in jail for what he's done. It's called stolen valor. Meaning, he said that he had done something during the war that he had not. He never went out to the Gulf. He never got shot. But he's claiming to have been part of the war. He's claiming to be a command master sergeant, which is the highest of the enlistment ranks in the Army. He was not a command master sergeant at all. He was a sergeant in the Army. So he's actually lying about his service. Unreal. He's lying about his service. Betty Zoom says they've taken enough from us and they've given us a lot of death. I agree. Renee Steffi says the channel is cut out. Unreal. Folks, this is all corrupt. It's all corrupt. YouTube is corrupt. That's why they're doing what they're doing. We must stand up and be noticed. We must stand up and put our foot down and not let them do what they're doing. Arnold Smith says every time a commercial pops up, then the stream freezes or buffers. I agree. I've seen that too. And I'm the author of this channel. And yet they're buffering me and taking and putting commercials up on my channel, on my time. It's bad. It's bad. Do you have any questions? I keep asking if you guys have any questions. Do you guys have any questions about anything we said? At the end of our programs, I always ask if you guys have questions because I want to answer your questions. I don't want anybody to leave here without their questions being answered. Everybody deserves answers. Diane Kelman says they're more conservatives than liberals. I agree. The liberals are more vocal, so it seems there are a lot more of them, but they're not. I agree. They want to make us look outnumbered, but they can't. Opposite is true. We outnumber them. Let them go ahead and do what they want to do. But, yes, there will be a civil war, but they will cause it. They will cause it. I'm not going to allow it. Someone asks, Betty Zoom says, are we supposed to obey bendedly? No, not at all. Not now, not ever. Period. All right. You guys don't have any more questions here. I'm going to end this with a spiritual thought. Tonight I'm going over to the 11th chapter of Hebrews in the New Testament. Verses 6 and 7. Well, without faith it is impossible to serve God. Without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Verse 7. By faith, Noah, being warned of God of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by which he condemned the world, and became an heir of the righteousness which is by faith. None of us can do anything without faith. In the past 4 years that we've been teaching Sunday school, in the past 4 years I've been ending this program with messages of devotional at the end. We've talked a lot about faith and development of our faith. We can develop our faith. We can be the people we want to be. We need to pray. We need to become stronger. We need to study our scriptures. I promise you in the name of Jesus Christ that we can pray and we can strengthen our faith. We can be the soldiers of Zion that God wants us to be. We can stand on a hill next to a city that can't be hid. We can carry a candlestick, not under a bushel, but up in the air where everybody in the area can see it. We must be like a candle that's lit, like a city on a hill that can't be hid. We must do that, and we must do that now. Please, folks, if you don't have faith, call me. Let's talk about it. I will do my best to help you. I will pray with you. I will pray for you. I love you all. That's one of the reasons we're here, to help each other. Please, folks, help your own faith. Study and pray. I promise you in the name of Jesus Christ that the gospel of Jesus Christ is true. The gospel of Jesus Christ is true. We haven't come these long miles for nothing. It is to feed our souls. To feed our souls. Brothers and sisters, we will be back here tomorrow night just after 6 p.m. on Friday. Monday through Friday, we're here sometime between 6 and 7 p.m. to talk about emergency preparedness and disasters and other things that are happening in our communities so we might save our lives and save those people that we love. May God bless you. May God keep you. We pray for you. My wife and I pray for you. We love you very much. God loves it. God loves you. I want to thank our mods here. We have the finest mod squad in YouTube history. We have the finest EMA family ever. Please invite your friends and neighbors to join us. Please share this program with everybody. There is not anything on this program today that you can't share, that someone could find information from to help them. Tomorrow night is Emergency Preparedness Friday. I'm going to come here prepared to talk with all of you, to share information and to answer your questions. I love you, brothers and sisters, I do. I bear you my testimony that I know that God lives. Jesus Christ is our Redeemer, the Son of God. He's here to help us return to our Heavenly Father. God be with you always, tonight and forever. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you on the other side, guys. Have a good night. Talk to you later. God bless.